The way is lit. The path is clear. We require only the strength to follow it.
A few months ago, I put out an update titled Beyond Journey's End, in which I spoke at length about the concept of time and memories. How the past 2 years have been an exercise in realizing that it wasn't just a mere season in my life, and how I didn't want to just live my life. I wanted to really live. I didn't know what lay beyond Journey's End then. I cannot say I know any more now than I did then. For the past 6 months or so, I've been thinking a lot about my future, with my own self-imposed deadline rapidly approaching. When I first arrived a little over 2 years ago, I told myself I would be there for 2 years. Then I'd reevaluate my situation to see if I wanted to make a change, or if it were somewhere I'd like to plant my roots, so to speak. Suffice it to say, it was the former. It wasn't the first time I'd handed in my resignation for a job, and I imagine it won't be the last. But it was still hard. And honestly, I didn't really prepare myself emotionally for all the jokes tinged with sadness, for the many, many questions about why I was leaving when I'd only disclosed my thoughts to very few. To the kid from church who cried into my shirt for nearly 5 minutes. For the sense of loss and the changing of more routines, or the strange sense of wistfulness I'd had during my farewell party and some final conversations. I thought I'd feel more happy when I finally got a job offer. I thought I'd feel so much more relieved. Like a weight had been lifted off my chest and I'd be free of my shackles when I handed in my resignation. I thought I'd feel more energetic when I realized I'd be getting a chance to go back to my hometown. And in small amounts, I have been feeling those emotions from time to time. But in truth, it seemingly still hadn't hit me at all. Not when I drove 14 hours back to my parents' house, nor when I unloaded my car, nor when I set up my computer in my temporary housing of a month. It wasn't until I looked at all of my belongings clumped together in separate piles in the living room that it suddenly dawned on me. Liminality. Of, relating to, or being an intermediate state, phase, or condition. This isn't the first time I've leapt into the abyss of the unknown. My very first time was 2 years ago, to a land where I knew no one and was unfamiliar with a variety of things. And now I'm moving again, to a much more remote locale and a place where not many would choose to be. Were I to completely buy into the analogy of leaping off a cliff, I'm currently still falling. When the end of August arrives and I officially move, that'll be when I hit the ground to start the next chapter of my life. Were I to be optimistic, now would be the perfect time to start again. After all, I am at a point in my life where I have no responsibilities really to anyone but myself. And while I'd someday like to have responsibilities to other things and people, that day hasn't come yet for me. I don't know when it will. And yet, do you know what I feel now that the dust has settled? Certainly a sense of contentment for what I achieved there. Definitely a sense of wistfulness for leaving some things and people behind. But more than that, now that the dust has settled and I'm well into the liminal stage. Anticipation. Excitement. And certainly a little bit of fear and anxiety. But a surprising amount of confidence that I can do it again. One more time. I don't know when this change in thinking fully occurred. There was a point in my life, detailed by these life updates, where I said change was one of the scariest things in the world to me. I still think that's true. But as my other musings have so said, there's some magic in the unknown after all. I don't regret the past 2 years I spent in my previous location. And granted, 2 years isn't a long time in the grand scheme of things, but for my life right now, these past 2 years was still a significant part of my life. Of growing up, of maturation, of looking ahead of the road, and wrapping up what feels like a chapter of my life that I'll reminisce on for years to come. And I don't know how long I'll be in my next location, what experiences I'll have, who I'll meet, what lessons I'll learn, what new hobbies I'll get engrossed in, and what challenges I'll face. But for right now, I exist in the in-between, the liminal. Still thinking about my past stages of life and reminiscing, while being fully conscious that there is an endpoint to this fluidity. And that's still a part of the journey. Maybe not as ballyhooed or heralded as the beginning or the ending of a story, but no less important.